The night was silent, except for the storm whispering secrets through the ancient castle walls. The moon hid behind clouds, as if ashamed to watch what was about to unfold. Inside the grand hall, under a chandelier that had seen centuries of royal celebrations, a young princess named Elara knelt on the marble floor, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her golden crown lay shattered beside her, a cruel reminder that not every princess lives a life of dreams. Her heart trembled not from fear, but from betrayal. Her father, the king she had once admired as her hero, had banished her from the kingdom she was destined to rule. The reason she had dared to love a man who had no title, no wealth, and no bloodline to boast, a stable boy named Rowan. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and love that defies all odds, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive, reminding the world that real love still exists. Elara had grown up behind golden gates, surrounded by tutors, guards, and endless expectations. Yet her heart had always longed for something more, something real. She found that in the quiet stables on the edge of the royal grounds, where the scent of hay mixed with the softness of freedom. Rowan worked there, a boy with gentle eyes and hands roughened by labor. He never bowed too deeply, never spoke out of turn. But when he looked at Elara, he saw not a princess, only a girl longing to be seen. It started with simple glances, then secret letters tucked beneath saddles, and finally, stolen moments in the misty mornings when the palace still slept. But love, when it blooms in the wrong soil, attracts storms. Word spread, twisted by jealous tongues, until it reached the throne room. The king's wrath was swift. Rowan was imprisoned, and Elara, stripped of her royal privileges, was exiled to the dark forest that bordered the kingdom. She was given nothing but a cloak and a warning never to return. Days turned into weeks as she wandered the wilderness, surviving on berries and rainwater. The royal silk dresses were replaced by rags, her reflection in rivers unrecognizable. The forest was merciless, its nights filled with howls and whispers, its paths confusing and cruel. Yet through every shiver and scar, Elara clung to one thought: she would not let her story end in despair. Somewhere out there, Rowan was still alive. Somewhere, hope flickered like a candle refusing to die. One stormy night, as thunder cracked the heavens, Elara found shelter inside an abandoned chapel. Its walls were crumbling, but in the corner stood a statue of a forgotten goddess, her stone face calm, her hands open as if offering comfort. Elara fell to her knees and whispered, "If love is truly pure, guide me back to him. Give me the strength to face whatever lies ahead." As lightning struck outside, a strange warmth surrounded her. The air shimmered faintly, and though no voice spoke, she felt an answer stir within her soul. By dawn, something inside her had changed. She no longer felt like a helpless girl but a woman forged by pain, courage, and faith. She began helping the poor villagers who lived near the forest, healing the sick with herbs, feeding the hungry with what little she could find. In return, they shared their gratitude, their stories, and their loyalty. Word of a mysterious woman with kindness like light began to spread, reaching even the distant corners of the kingdom. They called her the Lucky Maiden, a name she'd accepted with quiet humility, never revealing her true identity. Meanwhile, in the royal palace, the king's heart had begun to crumble under the weight of his own choices. The crops were failing, unrest stirred among the people, and strange dreams haunted him. Dreams of his daughter lost in the cold, her eyes filled with sorrow. Regret gnawed at him, but pride held him silent. The queen, however, had grown frail and ill, her heart breaking each day her daughter did not return. On her deathbed, she whispered to the king, "A kingdom without love is a crown of thorns. find her before it's too late. When the queen passed, the king finally set aside his pride. He sent out riders to search the lands, but none could find the lost princess. It was as if she had vanished into legend, until one day a soldier returned with news of a healer in the woods whose touch brought hope to the suffering. The king disguised himself and rode there, desperate yet afraid. Elara didn't recognize him at first when he entered her humble cottage. Cloaked in dust and sorrow, she offered him bread and water like any traveler. But when he removed his hood, the sight of his weary eyes broke her composure. She wanted to hate him, to turn away and let him taste his own loneliness, but her heart, even after all the pain, still held mercy. The king fell to his knees and begged for forgiveness, his tears falling on her hands. "You taught me the meaning of love," he whispered, "and I destroyed it." In that moment, Elara realized something profound. Forgiveness was not a gift to the guilty, but freedom for the broken. She forgave him, not because he deserved it, but because her heart could no longer bear the weight of hate. The king, moved by her compassion, asked her to return to the palace, but Elara hesitated. "I cannot return without him," she said softly. "Roran's love was my courage when the world turned its back." The king bowed his head, ashamed. "Then we will find him," he promised. Weeks later, after a long search, Roran was discovered in a distant labor camp where prisoners were kept to rebuild a fallen fortress. He was frail, his face pale, but his eyes still carried that same quiet fire. When Elara saw him again, time seemed to stop. She ran to him, and though he was weak, he smiled, the same smile that once made her forget the world. Their embrace spoke more than 1,000 words, and for the first time in years, she felt whole. They returned to the kingdom together. The people who had once whispered against her now cheered as she rode through the gates, not as a princess of privilege, but as a woman of grace. The king announced her as heir once again, and beside her stood Roran, no longer a stable boy, but a man who had endured for love. The kingdom began to heal, fields bloomed, and peace slowly returned. Yet what truly changed was not the crown, nor the castle, but the hearts of those who finally understood that love, true love, was the greatest power of all. Years passed, and Elara became known as the Lucky Princess, though she often smiled at the irony of that name. Luck had never been what guided her. It was faith, forgiveness, and courage. She ruled with kindness, rebuilding her kingdom not with gold but with compassion. She created homes for the poor, schools for the children, and sanctuaries for those in need. Every decision she made carried the echo of her past, the pain that shaped her, the love that redeemed her. Roran stood by her side through it all, never seeking glory, content just to see her shine. Together they built a kingdom where no heart would ever be silenced for loving freely. And though their story was filled with scars, those scars became stars in the sky of their destiny, reminders that beauty is often born from pain. One spring morning, as the sun painted gold across the palace gardens, Elara stood by the window watching the children play. The laughter reminded her of what she had once lost and found again. Roran placed his hand in hers, and she whispered, "We were never lucky, just blessed." He smiled, and together they watched the horizon, where light met shadow, a symbol that even after the darkest night, dawn always finds a way. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your love and support help keep such stories alive, stories that remind us that kindness, forgiveness, and faith can transform even the deepest pain into something beautiful. Before you go, tell us in the comments, do you believe that love can heal anything, even the wounds of the past? Elara's tale is not just a fairy tale. It is a reflection of every heart that has ever been broken and learned to love again. Her journey from exile to grace, from heartbreak to hope, is a reminder that no storm lasts forever. In every darkness, there is a flicker waiting to rise into light. So, whenever life feels unfair, remember the lucky princess, the girl who lost everything but found herself, and in doing so, taught an entire kingdom that love, when true, never fails. The Lucky Princess, a story not of perfect beginnings, but of powerful endings.